All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Commissioner's Court. Let's begin. Before we do anything else, we'll have a prayer and we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful sunshiny day after all the rain. Thank you for protecting our county for the most part. Others suffered a lot more than we did. I just pray that you'll help our residents get recovered with power and clean up in the days ahead. We thank you for the rain, however. Now we ask that you would preside over this meeting, that you would bless this meeting, equip us to take care of county business to the best of our abilities. We thank you for those that have come tonight in attendance who are interested. But again, Lord, we just ask that you guide this entire meeting. We ask it all in the name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, once again, welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. This is May 26, 2015, our 6 p.m. meeting, second meeting of the month, and it is just a couple of minutes after 6 o'clock. We're going to begin with item number 1, public comments and or requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with Section 551.042 of the Open Meetings Act. Has anyone asked to speak on paper? Would anyone like to address the court on anything at this time? Item number 2, consider and possibly approve minutes from our May 11th, 2015 regular meeting of the Commissioners Court. That was our morning meeting from 2 weeks ago.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor of accepting those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Joyce, for doing those for us. Item number 3, a status report for our Titus County pass-through projects. Jenny and Mark had intended to be here tonight. Jenny's sister's home was flooded near where Jenny lives, and so they're in a mess down there, and that threw their plans off. But I've provided you with a copy of the report. There's some extra copies over here if anyone would like to see that. Item is regarding, of course, FM 4000, our final segment here with James Construction Group. $17,600,000 paid thus far, about 93% of that contract. We have -6 days remaining. In other words, we are in overtime, so to speak, at this point, even after the contract extension. Let me cover a few things related to what's going on the contract. The signal crew, all signals are ready to be turned on, and PTP has been working with Roger Ledbetter, our TxDOT office engineer, on the scheduling of the message boards that will be placed a couple of weeks ahead of time before making them active to notify the public of the change in traffic. So be looking for some message boards. Southwest Environmental is installing mailboxes and all signage except for the speed limit signs. PTP staff has worked with TxDOT to establish these speed limits. Relief route to Tennyson Road West will be 45 miles an hour, and Tennyson Road West to FM 1735 will be 55 miles an hour. Not 75, 55. TxDOT has agreed to evaluate the traffic once opened, and if need be, the speed limits could change. The contractor plans to have all the speed limit signs installed by the end of next week. The seal coat crew. They placed the first course of surface treatment, the seal coat, at multiple stations. The prime is on other specific stations and driveways. I think I drove it was it yesterday? I guess it was yesterday, and gosh, I saw that prime coat on just about everything, which keeps it fairly waterproof, and there was quite a bit of seal coat out there as well, so it's nice to see that seal coat finally. At FM 1735, all the repairs to the asphalt surface have been completed. All that's left for 1735 is to place the thermoplastic striping on the roadway surface, but that's not possible until the entire area is completely dry, and weather permitting, we'll get that accomplished by the end of next week. A few notes here: there are approximately 40 driveways to be sealed and primed. Only 10 have been done to date. The contractor started surface treatment by placing 3,400 gallons of AC-10. PTP was informed today that the contractor will begin sealing again tomorrow. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, weather permitting. At this time, the staff of PTP believes that the opening of FM 4000 should occur sometime before the end of June. Speaking with Eric Lafitte, James Construction, he feels very optimistic they can have this completed sooner than the end of June, depending upon weather. The staff of PTP is currently working with James and TxDOT on getting the punch list together to allow for an expedited acceptance. The project estimate for the month of May will show 6 days of liquidated damages in the total of $27,000 that will be deducted from James's pay estimate and credited back to the county. Any comments, commissioners, questions?
The biggest thing that's really causing a lot of is the rain. Every time they tried to seal coat it, of course, it come back and it start raining, and they need at least 6 hours once they put the seal coat down before it gets wet or anything, and so they kind of look at the weather. It looks like we're going to have 2 pretty good days. They feel like they can at least get 1 coating all the way through and everything in a day to 2 days. So the biggest thing right now is rain has really hampered them.
Anything you can do about that? Nope.
Well, I hate not to ask the good Lord for rain, because rain is something we really need. So, you know, I'll let the good Lord handle that.
Anyone else? All right. Item number 4, consider and possibly approve a new contract with Pitney Bowes. Of course, Pitney Bowes provides our postage machine. The only change that I'm suggesting and asking you to consider this year is that we reduce the services provided by Pitney Bowes that we have been paying, that included capabilities of doing some online certified mail. And Carolyn took a poll of the departments and found out that really nobody is utilizing that portion of the capabilities of that equipment enough to warrant the additional cost that it would take to $189 a month. Send Suite Live E-certified desktop processing. We don't need that. We can knock our rate down. Current cost is $768 a month. We can knock this down to $491 without that E-suite, and I think that that would be the appropriate way to go, since nobody is really utilizing the services of that additional module. So the new price of $491 to renew this lease with Pitney Bowes is what I would ask you to consider.
Make a motion to approve the new contract.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Fields, and that is to update and renew our contract with Pitney Bowes for our postage machine. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 5, consider and possibly approve borrowing funds for the purchase of the 2 tractors for Precinct 4 that we had been talking about for the last couple of meetings.
Judge, the bank requested that we do this, put it in the minutes that it was approved. Last meeting we approved the purchase of them, and they just wanted the approval from the board to borrow them.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Was this what we were considering doing all along, was borrowing the money to do this? What kind of note will it be on, and how will that work?
4 years, 4-year note. The interest is 2.65, and it's 4 years. It's right at $20,000 a year on 4 years.
Okay, 2.65. Is that fixed for the whole period, or just for a portion of the period? Okay.
And that's something that is, the way I understood it, was set up with the bank when they were, when they got the depository bid.
Okay.
That rate was set up with that kind.
Okay. Everybody get that 2.65%?
We
got money, $6 billion in a fund. I realize you guys are on board as a bank, but why in the heck would we want to pay interest? That's
Reasonable question.
This law is from the general county, he can pay his interest or not pay his interest, no. I'm just that way, we'd rather do that. He can borrow the money, or we can transfer the money from the general fund, we'd rather do that. Well, we've always just had those funds operate on their own, separate from the general fund.
we didn't have any money, with money laying around in the bank drawing less than 1% interest. It'd be silly to pay 2.65 in my opinion, but
I tend to agree. I thought maybe there was a deeper reason, and I was going to ask the same question as to why we're doing it this way.
Have different funds operate out of their own.
What repercussions are we going to run into if we choose not to borrow the funds here?
Well, if you get to a point where the general fund needs its money, or how we use that money somewhere else, the next commissioner that might need to borrow some money, maybe there's not enough money in the general fund that. I mean, we've always just had the precincts carry their own way, give them X amount of dollars a year, they're supposed to operate from that standpoint.
What would be an alternative for the precinct to borrow from the?
Borrow from the general fund, pay 2.65% back to the general fund. Do that.
Well, I do think you'll get into a mess if you just allocate additional monies that are not budgeted to that one precinct, but I hadn't really thought through what the best way was to do that. But any reason why we shouldn't consider just borrowing from the fund?
Probably would be okay. You just don't want to get in a situation where 4 or 5 years from now, some of the others need a maintainer or something's even more expensive than the tractors. Precinct 4 got money from the general fund, but the other ones don't get money. That's just always the
Yeah.
That's fine.
we just transferred $200,000 out of precinct 4's budget. Put it on the,
But on the liability.
I mean, that's just like monopoly money, we move it around. I mean, I don't see any sense in paying interest. I mean, I think the taxpayers don't deserve to pay interest when we.
I would say you ought to at least pay the interest to the general fund. I mean, I think you ought to treat each fund separately.
I don't like.
They can pay the interest there.
Yeah, I think
That's not going to do that way.
Jimmy, this is your call. What's your thoughts on this?
That's fine with me. Carl and I had talked, and he said that's the way it's been done in the past. And so I had contacted the bank and talked to them, so but I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I'd rather do it that way if we can do it that way.
Okay. All right, you want to put that in the form of a motion?
I put that form of motion that I borrow the money from precinct 4, borrow the money from the general fund with the interest that we were going to pay the money.
Set it up on similar terms. 4 years at 2.65. Okay. All right. There's a motion from Commissioner Parker. Second by Commissioner Hinton.
why do we need to charge them interest? Why do we need to charge them interest?
Well, I think that's a way of keeping the playing field even. If one precinct needs to borrow more than another one, then they pay a little bit more in interest.
But the reason my complaint was that it shouldn't be on the budget 2.5 years ago. And the reason you gave me was no, because these commissioners save up money to buy an item. So now we moved it over to them. We're still doing the same thing. So if you, in other words, there's not much use having, but if you're going to have slush funds, if you're going to carry money over and stuff like this, we should be required to budget the money. But anyway, I don't see any sense in spending.
We've got a motion and a second. How would you structure it? I'd like to hear your,
Borrow from the general fund and then let him pay it back with no interest.
with no interest.
And I don't see any sense in charging them interest. If we were getting 5% over the bank, we lose that by giving it to him, I'd say, I think we ought to charge him any more interest than we're getting on the money at the bank. And I think it's less about 1% or something like that. Is that not right? So I don't know. It just makes
Okay.
sense to me not to charge him that kind of interest.
It all stays in the county, but that's fine. The only argument that you give would be what the judge said, that you're trying to keep it even playing field. Some precincts are borrowing money, some aren't, and every precinct handles their money a little differently than the other precincts. You know,
Hey, Cheryl, would you pull that up and make sure that that mic's on? I didn't check those. Okay, well, I've got a motion in a second. I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote, and if y'all change your mind, want to do something different, but I've got a motion and a second. You have another comment? Go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say, this was a long time ago, but I think you have to, when you borrow the money, whether it's from the bank or it's from general accounting or whatever, you have to have a time schedule set up that you pay it back during that period of time that you're in office. In other words, you can't come up your last year and borrow $40,000 because that puts the man in debt for the next time, and you can't do that. In other words, you can't carry it over to another term.
So you're saying you can't obligate for any more than 4 years at the very maximum if you did that as your first
That's correct.
order of
You can't
business?
carry over a note.
You carry over the slush fund, carry over excesses,
Well,
like you carry over shortages. I don't understand that.
I don't know if that's exactly right. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if that's exactly right. If you were in your fourth year, you need to maintain. Now, our county's lucky enough, we have some reserve funds. There's lots of counties that they don't have any option to borrow money. I don't think you can hold them. I mean, they might not be able to pay for a $200,000 maintainer in 4 years. Or in that case, 1 year.
Well, I know that it was passed that you cannot carry over. If you borrow something, you have to pay for it while you're in your
I
office.
think you can have the note where it matures, but you don't have to pay the dollar that time. We'll check. I'll check on it.
I'm just.
How about we modify that just to be sure that we are complying with law? If there's anything that prohibits this carrying over past what could be the end of your term, that we set up perhaps a balloon at the end of your 4-year term if required. But
I think that would be fine.
okay.
I'll just check that.
Okay, until we find out otherwise, 4 years, 2.65% interest fixed payable to the general fund. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 6, consider adopting a change to the depository contract to allow Guaranty Bank and Trust to substitute a bank letter of credit for pledged securities. Carl's going to briefly talk about this, and we've got Robin Sharp here from Guaranty Bank. Carl, would you like Robin to speak first?
No, I'll tell you on it first, and then Robin.
Make sure that mic is close enough. Can y'all all hear Carl? I just want to be sure. Okay.
It's, the bank contacted me the other day. Our depository contract requires the bank to put pledged security up for the balance of our account. We have somewhere between $25 and $30 million in the bank almost all the time. And so, under the FDIC rules, they only insure $250,000. So, and every entity, whether it's a city, the county, they run into the same situation. So you have to get a depository contract, and they have to pledge securities against your money to guarantee that if something happened to the bank, that the county's money is still
Protected.
So they've always pledged securities, and that takes them on a daily, weekly basis shuffling those securities around because the values of the securities go up and down, and they're always having to shuffle them around and move them around because our cash balances change as well as the value of the securities change. A little easier way that Cappy approached me with the other day was you could get a $25 million letter of credit from the Federal Home Loan Bank Board that guarantees $25 million of that money, which is most of our money. They'll still have to pledge some securities whenever it's over the $25 million, but they don't have to shuffle a bunch of different pieces of paper. That's just one piece of paper that covers $25 million of it. It's with the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, which is part of the federal government, so it's insured. It's the same thing as having a bond with them. I checked with the Texas Association of Counties. They said that they didn't see a problem with doing that. So I said, well, that's fine. It'd be a little easier to track the money anyway and to make sure that the values are there. So Robin's got some information to hand out to you to see if that's all right with you all. If it is, then we'll have to amend the depository contract.
Is there a typical fee involved on this letter of credit?
The only fee the bank pays. There is no cost, there is no charge to the county. It just makes it a little easier making sure you have the coverage because 25 million of it's covered in one item.
Okay. Robin Sharp from Guarantee Bank, welcome.
Thank you. And again, I think Carl explained it pretty well. The coverage benefit.
Be sure you speak in the mic so these folks, we're trying to fight this air conditioner that puts out a lot of noise.
Okay. Talking about the benefits to both the county and the bank, we want to do it for one reason, administrative. Again, we can issue that letter of credit one time to the county. Again, pick the amount, be it 25, 30 million, we'll figure out what the right amount is, issue that. The county will hold a letter of credit. And again, it's issued by the Federal Home Loan Bank. So again, if any time it had to be presented for payment, the county presents that to the Federal Home Loan Bank and it's paid. Again, I've passed out some information how cashing in a letter of credit for payment is an easier process than the individual security, because in that case, the bank probably had trouble. You could have receivership issues, timing to get paid, whereas a letter of credit, again, when that's issued, that's payable upon demand. It will benefit the county administratively as well. It'll be more efficient because, again, we're going to give you that letter one time and it will cover that amount. Again, like Carl said, if the deposits do exceed the letter of credit amount, we will, in that case, pledge individual securities as we always have in the past. But by doing it for that high amount, you're going to cut out a lot of the back and forth. So a lot of that paperwork on both sides won't need to happen. Again, in the presentation, it's AAA credit quality. So you're not accepting anything less. And again, I think you will begin to see this more and more. We've done it for several entities already, and I think it'll become more standard. The fee, again, we've got a contract with the county, so there's no cost to the county. There's a small fee that we're charged, and again, it's worth it for the savings on the administrative side.
Questions for Robin?
Questions?
No, did you get one of these out there?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew he looked out, and you gave me one.
Yeah.
So in summary, we're just as well, if not better, protected. It costs us no more. It simplifies things, not really for us, but for the bank.
It does for the county too. I think it's important because when the bank, again, when we're pledging individual securities and we can still sell those securities, we've got to contact the county and say, hey, we need this security released from you so we can sell it. We'll trade it out. So again, that back and forth is what's cut out. So really it's cut out on the county side as well. We'll be monitoring, as we have to, every day the balances, because again, if it goes over whatever that letter of credit amount is, we do have to pledge that security. So it's not like the county's going into a worse position. It'll be a more efficient position. And again, in the event of something bad, easier to collect payment.
I don't see any problem with it. Like I said, I checked with the Texas Association of Counties to make sure there wasn't anything they thought was wrong with it. They didn't say anything. Basically, this just replaces, instead of having $25 million worth of a bunch of different little securities pledged, you got one security pledge, and it's a federal security just like the others are. I mean, you probably have some Federal Home Loan Bank securities that are pledging against it now. It's just there are a bunch of little ones instead of a big letter of credit.
I make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Riddle and a second by Commissioner Fields. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm going to abstain from that vote, so that passes. Robin, thank you for coming. I know you've got an engagement to get to. Help yourself and head on out. Thank you. Item number 7, consider and possibly approve the purchase of miscellaneous items for the new computer room for a total of $1,127. Sean was unable to be here tonight. He will be glad to come back and address this at a later meeting, but he was not able to be here tonight. Let me tell you what these items are. 4 monitors, screens, for the new workstations that have been created over there that keeps them from having to unplug a monitor every time that they move to a new computer. They have a permanent monitor set up at each of the 4 workstations, or the 3 workstations, and 1 replacement. An 8-port KVM for server room peripheral mitigation. And let me tell you what this is. At any time, they may be working on all of our servers that are over there in the computer room, and there are multiple servers over there. And rather than having a mouse and a keyboard and a monitor that goes with each one of those servers, where again they're having to unplug it and plug it in every time they move around, this will be a more efficient way of doing that. It allows 1 monitor, 1 mouse, and 1 keyboard to work on each different server that's in that room with the flick of a switch. In other words, it just switches it from, I'm going from server A, B, C, D, rather than having multiple monitors, multiple keyboards, multiple mouse, or having to move those pieces of equipment around. So it's just an efficiency issue. That's $129. Those monitors were $109 each. The next item is a 2.14 cubic foot fire waterproof safe for physical data storage and archiving, slightly larger than they have had. $400 on that safe. The next item is 2 bar stools for the workstations, 1 dust broom and pan for the floors, some Swiffer wet jet spray mops to keep the floors clean, 1 of those at $28, and then 5 air cans for compressed air for cleaning equipment, 4 of those at $5 each. So just to run through it again, 4 monitors at $109 each, the 8-port KVM switch at $129, a waterproof, fireproof safe at $400, bar stools 2 at $48, dust broom pan $18, mops $28, air cans $5 times 4, $20, grand total of $1,127.
Hey, Judge, did you, the first item, the computer items?
The monitors, those are just the screens.
Did you, the JPs might be able to, but you use some of the technology to pay for that?
In any way we can structure this where we could do that, I think that we should take advantage of that.
I mean, you'd have to talk to them, I don't think it's in here. Yeah, because those are, you're talking about the computer room.
In the computer room at the
That
annex.
applies to
Con-
your office as well as, I mean, that computer room in every office.
Yeah, we could.
It would qualify if they're willing to do it. And then the safety stuff.
Well, all of it could. All of it could.
The safety,
The monitors, the safe, and the switch.
I don't think you pay for it out of security, but you pay for it out of repairs and maintenance of the courthouse.
There's probably some money in there to pay for that, that's the only option.
To pay for what? What are you referring to specifically?
The bar stools. The
Yeah, stools, brooms, mop. Yeah, that's
$400.
That's $150 worth.
$400 But that other money, the technology money, it can only be used for technology stuff. So, I mean, when you get a chance to use it, you need to use it. They do have to pay.
I will check on that if you approve this, see if we can switch out their monitors, take their hand-me-downs, and upgrade their monitors.
Judge, I make the motion that we buy the things that needed where we can substitute in for technology and funds from that area. If we can use that, instead of general county. And just look at the different options that we might have there.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Fields and second by Commissioner Hinton. That is to purchase everything that's been asked for by KBRO and see if we can't make the most of our money by using as much of our technology funds to pay for these eligible items as we can. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 8, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. We do not have any travel seminar requests tonight. Item number 9, approve oral and written reports. Thank you. Commissioner Parker made the motions, second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of approval of these reports, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 10, consider possibly approve the treasurer's report. Anything you need to call our attention to, Cheryl? I should ask that more often, but I don't. Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval. Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 11, approve budget amendments.
I don't have any debt.
Item number 12, sign pay orders and approve payments. Motion by Commissioner Hinton to pay bills. Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Item number 13, closing comments, if any. In the storm yesterday, if you've noticed on the north, a couple of problems on the north side of our courthouse, we have what looks to me like an antenna that has fallen on the top of the building. Does anybody know what the nature of that antenna was, what it was for from years? It appears to be several years old, and I would guess it's no longer utilized, but I don't know.
I think at one time, the radio system and the speaker system and stuff, it was used for that, but I think...
Like for the music, you mean? Maybe so.
Speakers.
Maybe so.
But the technology, I don't think they need that.
Well, I'll know more when I can get somebody up there to take a look at it, see what it's hooked up to. Yeah. Yeah, that thing started up a couple of weeks ago. It's been trickling down there.
We need to call
The roofers.
because it's guaranteed for 20 years.
Second item is our flagpole on the northeast corner, about the top 10 foot, broke off. I have contacted someone to at least come and take a look at both of those items. Let me get back to you when I find out what the most efficient way to fix that flagpole is, and if we can just remove that antenna, then I'll ask for your permission to remove that antenna. It's time for a meeting with UMR and CAPS Insurance to go over our health insurance plan, to talk about any changes that we are considering making. Would you check your schedules and let me know if Friday, the 19th of June, would be a suitable day for you? Friday, the 19th of June. You don't have to commit to me tonight. I'll put a reminder in there in your office, but trying to coordinate CAPS and Chris Kaplinger from UMR.
That you might could use.
I just threw that one out. If Fridays are typically bad, give me something else to work with. It's going to have to be after the week beginning the 14th. So sometime from the 14th on. We've got court in here on 1 or 2 days that week.
I'd like to check my calendar before I go.
Well, I'm not asking you to commit. I'll put a reminder note in there, but if you knew for certain you were going to be gone that week, I didn't even want to consider it. But I'll put that in there, again, if you'll look at your schedules. But I need to get this done here in the next, sometime by the end of June, if possible. That's all I've got. Commissioner?
The only thing I've got, Judge, is auctions ending up tomorrow. It's doing real good so far. We probably got somewhere already getting to in the neighborhood of 25,000 already on that. So it's looking like it's going real good. It starts ending at 11 o'clock tomorrow.
How many pieces do you have up for sale? 12 pieces. Okay. Good deal. Anything else? How much damage you suffer?
We had about 6 or 8 trees dead, a few smaller ones, but most of it was we got everything picked up 20 days today. So
Any of your guys have to work yesterday?
I had 2 of them that come in for a while last night. Well, in fact, they had come in twice. We got we got the first 2 trees cleaned up, got back to the house, and they called in the other one, and then I got another call later, and I went to here to get the set.
All right. Well, thanks to you and your fellows. Commissioner Hinton? A lot of cleanup. Thanks to you guys, too, for doing that yesterday on your holiday. Commissioner Fields?
We had some damage. We had about 6 trees down, one humongous tree. It got the fence, the road, and the fence, and the power lines. It got it all. Yeah, but the other trees were not that hard. Did have one tree that a constituent cut up and moved for us, called and told us that he had it moved. So really help. We really appreciate them doing things like that. And we had 7 spots that were flooded. Water got over the road. We checked them first thing this morning to make sure that the culverts were still sound and passable. And they were the ones that water had got off of. But overall, it wasn't really that bad. I've seen a lot worse.
That it?
I had to go out Friday night and move some trees, a couple of hours myself, or limbs, and then call a guy out to help me. And then Saturday, last night, yesterday, I went out 2-4 hours and picked up limbs and stuff, and the road, so that's it.
Nothing too bad.
Sleep, ready to go to that.
All right, well, tell your crew we appreciate that work yesterday. Okay, what else? Okay, I just had training in Lubbock last week and was pleased to be informed when I was there that they had managed to obtain a grant that paid for all of our travel and training expenses, so that was nearly a $750 bill. And they had funds available for up to about $750, so that didn't cost the county anything, which was nice. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn whenever you're ready. Motion by Commissioner Hinton, second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you, everyone, and good night.